And we're back. It's another Obsolete Opinions podcast. I'm Sean Besner, joined this time by my good friend Ted T-Bone Jones. How are you?
Good, how are you, Sean?
Oh, not bad, thank you. And, of course, our resident grumpy man, Jay Kiefte. How are you, Jay?
Oh, I'm grumpy.
Grumpy? Why are you grumpy, Jay?
I don't know. I'm not really that grumpy. As grumpy as a man can be on Halloween, I suppose, which is the greatest holiday of the year.
I agree. It is free candy and scares. What else could kids want? And as an adult, I also want those things.
Never gets old.
Never gets old.
No.
Speaking of Halloween, John Carpenter is going to be speaking before a re-release of his classic film, and we are hopefully going to see that if it plays in our town, if we're that lucky. And we decided ahead of time to binge watch all of the Halloween films, and including the producer's cut. So let's talk about that. Halloween 1 and 2, easily the best films of the series. Number 3 happened. 4, 5, and 6, also known as the Thorn Cult series, also happened. Halloween H2O, huge at the box office, not too beloved by fans. And then there was one where he was killed by Busta Rhymes. We also have Rob Zombie's Halloween films, and some like them, some don't. I like the first one. The second one is more of Zombie's bizarre fetish of showing his wife in satanic imagery while half naked. Hey, it's appealing, but a good film it does not make. At least the fifth time around. Anyway, Jay, opinions on the Halloween series?
Do you ever separate your candy on Halloween?
No, why would I?
Oh, man. I would always go like chocolate bars in one pile, chips in another pile, lollipops and like caramels and things in another pile, and then like all the other healthy stuff just get tossed.
That's well, it should be. It's Halloween.
Yeah, and then the chocolate bars, they wouldn't make it through the nights, and then chips were the next to go. Caramels were the worst.
You don't like those little prepackaged caramels?
Oh, man. Those were the kind of cheap way to go. If you had to give out candy, you gave out those caramels. And you gave out one. Those. So you bought a package of like 1,000 for $3 or whatever they probably cost.
You're probably right. Yeah.
And yeah, tossed one nasty, crummy caramel into a person's bag.
Okay, I'm in agreement that they're like one caramel. I mean, that's
even a handful of those things is not good. I mean,
see, I liked those.
Yeah.
Like they certainly weren't my favorite, but I was always happy to see them in the mix.
I don't know. Happy? Really?
Not overjoyed, but I was always, enjoying the candy.
Do you have a favorite Halloween candy?
Candy corn.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You actually got candy corn?
Well, no one ever gave candy corn because it's always touched by hands and it's all ew.
Well, yeah.
But like you'd get the little packages of candy corn.
I never got any of those.
Wow, you must have lived in a shitty town.
Yeah.
See, my problem wasn't the caramels. My problem was those damn mini bag chips, and they were always regular. Every single one. And because you've been running for like however many blocks all evening, and you get home, they're all popped. Like there's chips in your bag of like candy. You're just like, oh, alright. Yeah, regular. I don't know. Come on, salt and vinegar, people. It's bust out. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
Do for the kids.
I always liked when you went to that rare house and you got the full-size candy bar. Where you were just like, okay, can I turn my mask around maybe? Can I like switch costumes with somebody else to go back to that house to try to get the full candy bar? Yeah. Or can I just go back in 10 minutes and hopefully he won't recognize me?
I ended up doing that, like because there's only like one or two places that would give them out, right? usually apartment buildings, because everyone would, in my area, would just give all the candy that they'd collected for the apartment to the lobby dude who just dumped a bunch of it in everyone's bag. And so we just go in between like 3 or 4 dudes and rotate out masks. We went to like 5 or 6 apartments in a span of 10 minutes and like filled our bags easily. So that was a quick way to get candy. Anyhow, Halloween. Which one were we talking about?
We were talking about any of them, and you segued into candy.
As
so
one always
this
does
is
on Halloween.
this is going to be an interesting episode, I presume.
Yeah.
Since when I ask you directly, let's talk about the Halloween films, you start talking about candy.
I'm sorry, I had to roll with it.
Hey, we rolled,
no candy.
But damn, Jay.
What's your favorite candy bar, Ted?
It's tough. Wonder Bar's pretty good.
Wonder Bar?
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Really, Wonder Bar?
I'm put on the spot here.
Hey, that's
I'm gonna
not a
stick
bad
with Wonder Bar
choice.
for now.
It's kind of it's
I like
different
caramel.
depending on the temperature that you eat it at.
Yeah, it's really different. It's
Yeah.
the candy bar you never get the second bite is the same as the first one.
That's right.
That's not a good thing.
Well,
It is with that candy bar.
If I get like a malted milk or a Three Musketeers or something like that, like I know what to expect going in.
Damn it.
It's not like a bite is gonna be filled with flies or something.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Mistake.
I got my faith in the Wonder Bar. You know what that means in German?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good choice. I'd probably tie that with like a Crunch Bar.
Crunch.
You know, the ones with the crispy rice.
I do like those. Nestle Crunch.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're simple but delicious.
I like a good crunchy with like the toffee inside, sponge toffee.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. It's hard to pick a favorite, man.
Yeah. It's just too many different options.
I have a favorite, and it's Kit Kat.
Yeah, that's an always kind of old reliable, you know. Nothing wrong with that. Snickers is always
we
good
can't sing
too.
that much.
Don't.
We can't do theme songs, or we'll get nailed. for
Yeah,
copyright.
yeah.
But we can name trademarked chocolate bar companies.
Okay. That's good to know. Because we're fans of them. We wouldn't mind them.
None
sending
of
us
these are
chocolate
sponsored.
bars.
Yeah. Just a fan.
You know. you
Call me
gotta-
Snickers. I think they're almost all owned by the same company anyhow.
What, Nestle?
Mars.
One of them.
Well, Mars and Nestle.
Mars
Maybe
the
Mars is owned by
planet or
Nestle.
Mars the company?
I don't know. They're all owned by freaking Pepsi. Or something like that.
Jay with conspiracy theories, chocolates. As you can tell, this is going to be a riveting episode, everybody.
The chocolate conspiracy. Yeah. And Halloween, that's when they all assemble.
That's when they
and,
get you.
Yeah, do their chocolate ritual for the next Halloween.
Well, they're all sitting around in a board meeting, singing the Silver Shamrock theme song. 3 more days till Halloween. Nestle candy.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And they
I'm
all,
almost positive that's not it.
Yeah, man. They all eat like chocolate helium, and it all makes their voice sound like the elves in that commercial.
The Keebler elves?
No, the ones in the Halloween song.
Oh.
It's all high pitched.
Yeah, but they're not elves.
Well, whatever.
It's like almost-
Same thing.
I'm almost positive it isn't.
I don't know.
You say chocolate helium?
Chocolate helium.
He did say chocolate helium.
Delicious.
Implying that because it's a chocolate company, the helium that they'd get has to be in chocolate form.
Ooh. Oh.
I don't know if it's like an arrow and it's all the bubbles are full of helium so they can eat it that way. I don't know where he's going with this.
I was thinking more like caramel, where instead of caramel, it's helium.
Because
how do they
can
get
you
it in
flavor
there?
helium?
Oh, it's the caramel secret.
Well, it could be the helium milk secret then.
Okay, we have to get this goddamn thing back on track.
Okay.
John Carpenter, Jay,
movies,
go.
Right?
You love John Carpenter. Go.
Yes, he is a man who writes and directs great movies and also happened to have made Halloween in the late 70s because he was
Mid-70s.
asked to, mid-70s. Yeah. And he only agreed to do it if he had full creative control.
And his name above the credits.
And to explain things that everyone already knows, nobody had done a movie like that at the time, and it was super duper scary, and because of its success and scariness, a bunch of other people thought that they could replicate it time and time again, and each time it wasn't quite as good as the time before, basically.
For almost 39 years, we've had many imitators, but no one has been able to take the crown. At least not from the first film, because I'm pretty sure almost every horror movie trips and takes the lunch money of almost every other one of those films.
Yeah, and it's because I think it's because it had the most Carpenter involvement.
So you're saying specifically because of Mass Carpenter,
Yes.
a solid injection of Carpenter. The loving thrust of John Carpenter is the cause of the absolute success of number one.
That's so weird.
Mainly. Granted, he hasn't done a whole lot in the last 15 to 20 years. But it doesn't matter, because he made some of the best movies of all time.
Yep. They Live, The Thing, Escape from New York,
The
Big
Mouth of
Trouble in Little
Madness. Yeah.
all wonderful films.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's The Ghost of Mars and Vampires, but we don't talk about those.
No. They're not especially good. Nor was that last one that he did, Ward. Was that it? Yeah.
I never got around to seeing it.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
However, Cigarette Burns was amazing.
Yeah, that was the best thing he's done recently, for sure. Cigarette Burns.
And for all you Walking Dead fans out there with raging hard-ons or moist spots for Norman Reedus, if you'd actually like to see Norman Reedus act in something that's absolutely terrifying and well shot and possibly one of the best short films ever made, I suggest tracking down the Masters of Horror series, Cigarette Burns. It's scary as shit.
Indeed. And it's, I think, one of the first episodes that they aired or did for Masters of Horror, and it's why I sat through a lot of crappier ones in the hopes that they would be as good as that one. They never were.
Well, Don Coscarelli's was.
There were some that were good, but I think that was the best one.
I'll agree it's the best one. Aside from Takeshi Miike, but that doesn't count because it was never aired, and Miike has damage.
Yeah, I have not watched that one yet, but from what you've told me, it seems like pretty boundary pushing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stories about it. We'll probably talk about it another time, but we are getting off track really bad with this one, so we're going to steer it back to a man who actually loves the Thorn Cult series, Ted Jones. Ted, tell us about your love of 4, 5, and probably not 6.
Oh, 6. Oh, really? No love for 6? No.
We have just watched 2 different versions of 6. 6 with the theatrical edition, and then 6 the producer's cut, which is, I will admit, a far better film than the theatrical edition. However, both suffer from lack of plot, story, filming, acting, care, budget. You know, the things that go into making a film.
Oh yeah, movies, right.
Yeah, those things.
They require money.
Well,
Yeah.
that part's not true.
Well, that is. Yeah. No, well, I mean, it was Yes, both of them were drastically different, and both of them came out just. I can't even describe it. It's not good. Not good, people. What did you guys think about the ending? That's what I want to know. 'Cause
What, the
two
twist
endings
ending
were
with,
totally
with the
different.
producer's cut?
Yeah, because I mean, in the original, we had Paul Rudd pretty much beat down Michael and laugh at him for a while. I think at some point it was very odd. I think that was the.
I think the over-reliance on the rune thing was a little bit much. Where they were like, oh, runes, look how powerful they are. They can hold back Michael, and all that kind of new age mumbo-jumbo bullshit. I think the film really suffered because of that, and they tried way too hard to stuff that in. To the point where even the evil Dr. Wynn's robe on the elbows had the thorn symbol, and it made him look like a stupid bird. Like, everything about that. Like, they just crammed that thorn symbol in over and over again, and they shouldn't have. They really should have just left it alone. You know, hint here, hint there, hit it with a little symbol here and there. But it was nothing but runes and their importance in Michael. And I think the film really suffered from it. The twist ending where Dr. Loomis is now the head of the Thorn cult, I thought could have maybe gone somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, with Michael's clear killing of the ex-leader of the Thorn cult, which means that he cannot be fully controlled, maybe Loomis could have brought him to heel, or at least maybe brought him down using it, or stripping away his immortality. There's a lot of things that could have been explored, but
it was it was just out of left field. Like, okay, kind of weird, unpredictable. Like, just who saw that coming? It was not going to happen. But meanwhile, the original one was fairly mediocre. It's kind of like a cakewalk through that movie. I don't know. Did you feel the characters were threatened, really?
I fell asleep.
That's right.
Because we had watched 4 and 5, and then we were watching 6, and then we got to the part where the disc jockey had been killed, and I was happy about that. And then I fell asleep because the movie was boring. I don't often fall asleep in horror films. I fall asleep often during films, and I'll admit that. But not during horror films.
No.
I mean, the only time I distinctly remember falling asleep, and somebody who fell asleep, was when you fell asleep during Expendables 3, because the movie was so boring, and we were all trying to, like, just stay awake, and you were just like, ugh. And it was a movie we were excited for.
That was in theaters, wasn't it?
No, I fell asleep during the riff tracks Night of the Living Dead. Both me and you did that, and Kyle was the only one who stayed awake.
In the theater.
In the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was bad, because both me and him had stayed up the night before, and we were like, yeah, we're going to go see this, and then we fell asleep. Maybe films are just not as captivating as they once were.
It's the lighting.
The lighting?
Lighting. That's what I say. It goes down, lights go low, and then immediately off. I mean, it's just easy to fall asleep. That's my theory.
Okay. So, Ted, when Jay and I were watching a film and you came in the other day, you immediately identified it as Halloween 5, and you were excited. That's not an excitement that I often see out of you for a film, nor the ability to immediately recognize a film.
True.
So
that can also, yeah. No, it was the first one I ever saw the series. Can't remember. I think it was randomly on TV one day, and it was good. It was, I mean, it was scary without having to be violent. The mood was set right. There was tension. Just with the music and the scenery, or One of my favorite things was like I've talked to you about before, it's a normal plot building scene. It's just, conversation between two of the characters, and in the background, if you pay attention, there's a tree in the middle of that kind of field yard, and all you see is the silhouette of this guy poke out from the tree, and he's watching them talk for, maybe not even that long, maybe just like 10 seconds, but it feels like forever, and it just helps. It's insane because you never know. And yeah, it's broad daylight is something other people have mentioned before. When they do things in broad daylight, the creep factor goes up.
I agree with that. There's something about the Halloween films because the killer is simply around all the time. Like in the first one, he's always poking up behind a tree down the street. You can see him. Like he's a consistent, palpable presence. Where in other slasher films, like say Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, there's prerequisites. Jason's coming by chi 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 ha ha ha. Freddy's coming if someone's falling asleep. Ghostface is coming if there's a stupid phone call and a stupid movie. You know that things are going to be happening in a certain order. Like Pinhead, someone has to play with the box. There's something that's going to set up their appearance. Whereas Michael is just there. He's standing at the end of the street. He's poking up behind a tree. He's grabbing the kid in the first film and making him drop the pumpkin. There's always something. And Michael is simply there. And that's an odd tension to have. The only other film that did it right out of the whole Halloween series is number 4 to an extent, because there's a few little pop-up scenes here and there, and Rob Zombie's film, oddly enough. Now, most people don't like the Rob Zombie film, but Michael sneaked the hell out of that movie, because he's always in the background. He's always sneaking, standing, watching, waiting. Like, that's the one thing Rob Zombie absolutely got correct, that Michael is simply there.
I do agree.
I mean, the first 50 minutes of the movie, he's also there, but he's also a little kid, and that lasted a little bit too long. That could have been done in 15 minutes, 45, a tad much, but when the movie actually got going, he did that part right. Number 2 was just, that happened. But Michael as a killer is one of those things that it's a consistent, omnipresent feeling of where's he going to show up. We know he's there. He's always there. The film keeps telling us he's there. In all the empty space on the screen, when you have other characters in the foreground or in the background or dialogue happening, the empty space, you're looking because he showed up over and over again. So when you have him in a house, the empty space is where you think he's going to be, and that makes that tension, that builds that nice suspense. And then you have the John Carpenter theme, very simple. It's building and building and building, and then the payoff is so quick and not brutal. It's violent, but it's not like Freddy hacking up, some students with a claw. It's not Jason taking apart people with a machete. It's simple, quick death. And I always thought that was a nice thing that set him apart.
Yeah, plus, I mean, up until the later movies, you don't know anything about him, or if he's supernatural or not. And if the newer movies, like the remake that's coming out next year, is going to be, a sequel from number 1?
It's a sequel directly from number 1, with the new one that comes out on the 40th anniversary. Technically, 2 through Rob Zombie never happened. None of those films happened.
So do you think then that they're going to go supernatural with him? Like, what do you think they'll do?
I think they're going to go just a guy.
Yeah.
just a crazy evil guy. Because they went the supernatural route, they tried it, and they tripped all over themselves trying to tell that story. It failed. Whereas the less they told of Michael, the more enamored people were with him. So they're already eliminating the fact that Laurie was his sister. So all that canon's gone. It was simply she was the girl who dropped off the key at the boogeyman's house, and then the boogeyman wanted to kill her. That's it. That is the entire plot of number 1.
Yeah.
And that's what it is going forward. It's no longer Michael has to kill his sister. There's nothing else. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what it'll be. Hopefully, when we go see it, John Carpenter will drop some hints. That'd be nice, because I know there's a big presentation ahead of time. So, if we're that lucky, we get to find out. If not, then we wait a year.
Yeah, well, do we know that Carpenter has any involvement in this one?
I know so far that he scored it. So,
Naturally.
John Carpenter and his 3 keyboard chords are back.
Alright.
Aside from that, as far as I'm aware, he was brought on as a consultant, and he has voiced his pleasure with the current script.
Alright.
And I believe he was also an on-set consultant, and he also said he was happy. So that is the extent so far of Carpenter's involvement.
Cool.
But at the same time, that's the same amount of involvement he had in number 3. So, if that tells us anything, it's to be excited, but a little trepidatious.
Yeah, fair enough. How do you feel about the changes in masks over the years?
I thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
Jason changed when they needed him to change. The mask remained pretty much the same. It just got more and more beat up. Freddy never changed. Ghostface, unfortunately, never changed. Pinhead never changed. Chucky never really changed, aside from whoever they had sculpting the toy at the time. Cropsy never changed, even though there's only one of them.
Cropsy.
Dude, I am going to get as many Burning references in as I can. I fucking love The Burning. Cropsy. Leatherface changed a lot over the years.
Yeah.
But at the same time as Leatherface,
No,
he's always killing new people to make a new mask. Yeah, I agree.
Making like leather leggings and leather blouse, and
Could open up his own
got,
shop.
oh yeah. Eventually he gets lots of faces.
We'll call them Manny Faces.
Hey.
That was ready
Man,
for somebody.
leather faces.
Okay. So,
Face man.
the changing of the masks I always didn't like, because it's a different mask in every damn film. The first mask has always been the best mask, because it's just Captain Kirk
Yeah.
turned inside out and readjusted in a few ways. The second mask, it had his hair pulled tight down to his head. And then the third mask doesn't count. The fourth mask, it gave him like wild, shitty hair throughout half the film, and then it was pulled down. No, it started out and it was completely slicked back, except the whole face had been changed.
Yeah, wasn't it blonde at one point too?
Hmm?
You have blonde hair at one point.
It looked blonde. It's always been brown, but in number 5, it was a little wild, and in number 6, it was really wild until the end. Because number 6, they just kept fucking that movie up.
Yeah. 2
different actors, pile of different masks. It was a train wreck. So there's scenes where his hair is spiked out. I don't know who decided that was a good look. and when the lighting's on it, it looks blonde because there's so much like just flood out lighting from behind it. Like it's backlit to shit, so it's just blowing that color out.
I guess. Oh. Minor detail.
Minor detail, but annoying detail. I thought the Rob Zombie mask was pretty good.
Yeah.
As masks go.
As masks go.
I thought the mask for H2O and Resurrection were just terrible.
Oh man. Yeah, didn't they see, wasn't
The nose.
H2O or something? No, Resurrection, didn't they say they had to CGI it? Like, yeah.
No, that's H2O.
H2O, yeah.
That was weird.
And it was just a compilation of like 6 different masks that was CGI'd and altered throughout the entire movie.
No, that was scenes for close-ups because they had eliminated all expression from the mask because the director, whoever, I can't remember, wanted a purely expressionless white mask. And then other people disagreed with that, and they went over his head. And so they had another mask brought in that was a representation of number 4, I think. And so he didn't like that, and then they hired another company. So there were 3 companies basically building masks for the movie. And you can see the mask constantly changing throughout the film, which, wow. And then there's the CGI mask for close-ups, where they just kind of mapped over top of him.
Right.
So, yeah, how not to make a movie.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Well, yeah.
simple.
After hearing all the stories of the making of number 6, it sounded like nobody really was too thrilled with all the reshoots and just BS that went around behind the scenes.
No, number 6 was too troubled and too flawed to make anything out of. And they just kept slugging ahead with it. I think if they probably would have not went all Suicide Squad with it and just slapped a script together and were like, go. I think if they stopped doing that and actually sat down, really wrote a script that everyone was happy with, then I think they would have had something. But they didn't, and it's, now 20 years later.
Yeah. And next year, 40 years since the original.
Mm.
You guys pumpkin fans? You like pumpkins?
I used to really love carving pumpkins until the stupid collection of allergies I picked up. I know you're a very good pumpkin carver.
No, not really that good. I cheat and use like a pin to like kind of map out what I'm gonna cut first.
How is that cheating?
I don't know.
That's called planning and forethought. I'm almost positive people who actually want something to look good do that. Take, for example, Halloween 6. If they would have taken your pin approach and, actually designed a film for that, it might not have sucked.
Maybe. I don't know. What about you, Ted? Do you like the taste of pumpkin? Are you like a pumpkin pie guy? Pumpkin spice latte kind of guy?
Yeah. The pumpkin, the spice latte is not bad, but the pie is where it's at. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Pumpkin pie cheesecake is the bee's knees.
That I haven't tried.
Teddy, you fading on us, buddy?
I'm good.
You're good? How good are you?
I'm not sure. A rating.
Give me a 1 out of give me an out of 10.
I'm awake. I want to give you like a 7. I want to give you a 7.
All right, Ted. I expect more energy if you're claiming a 7.
That's
They call bull.
All right, Ted. Halloween's a coming. It's only a few days away.
Yes, sir.
Silver Shamrock. What horror film are you going to be watching upcoming on Halloween?
Ooh.
Like, not here or with the guys.
Mm-hmm. So does that have to be current?
No. Why
Thank God.
would you watch a current horror film?
I don't know. That's why I wanted to check.
I'm asking. I'm not telling you
There's
to go to a
couple.
theater, Ted.
Oh, by the way, Sean, there are a couple, that are
Like?
okay. Jay, what was the that one we saw?
The Green Room.
Oh,
Green Room's not current.
God damn,
That's
that
current.
was great.
Yeah, how many years old?
Pardon me.
I'm talking like right now.
Oh, I don't know. It's got to be something.
And Green
Yeah,
Room's
it's,
a thriller. It's not a horror film.
Yeah.
Thriller.
Horror thriller.
It's Nazis. It's a thriller.
Horror thriller. The
It's
guy
a-
gets his
it's
head
scary.
hand fucking macheted.
Yeah. Gore does not make a horror film.
There's
Yeah,
Southern
but
Nazis.
that's
Well,
horrific.
what about Deliverance?
Deliverance?
Yeah,
Thriller.
Yeah, Deliverance ain't no horror.
it's scary.
Nah.
Scary. Stop it.
Really, dueling banjos is your trigger?
Well, one of many, but
So
yeah.
if I just follow you around and make that my ringtone, you're just gonna leap out of your skin all the time now?
I don't know if I should answer that at all.
Well, I'll make you squeal like a pig, Ted.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you need an answer.
Yes,
Right,
I do need an answer.
So I would say Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Which one?
I can't remember, but the one where Donald Sutherland's fucking screaming at you. Oh, dear
Okay, so
God.
the Donald Sutherland one,
Oh,
the 1970s one.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because there's the original one with Kevin McCarthy, then there's Donald Sutherland, and then there's a few other ones. Like
That's right. It's the second. It is
Good choice.
awesome. Thank you. It's one of my favorites from when I was younger. Scared the crap out of me. Yeah, it was good. Good
If
times.
I wasn't sure it would
Still-
cause the ears to bleed of the entire audience, I'd point and go "re" at you. But
Well, thank you. Yeah. What about you? Nah, don't do it. Jesus. Now you don't get asked. Jay, what about you? What are you gonna watch? Halloween.
It's so hard to pick. One of my favorite scary movies to watch every Halloween is Ernest Scared Stupid.
really,
Yeah, I try to watch it every year. It's a classic, I feel, and highly underrated and under-recognized for its comedic and just overall greatness. But aside from a good Ernesting, I do enjoy, Army of Darkness. That's a nice one to watch, or anything Bruce Campbell related. The last couple years, it's reminded me of Halloween just because the Ash vs. Evil Dead shows tend to premiere around then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Obviously the Halloween movies. It's tough because we tend to watch horror movies all year round. So some people just watch them in October, and that's fine.
Really?
Some people don't watch them at all. So I guess October is better than not at all.
well, do you have that one film that just says Halloween to you? Is that Ernest Scared Stupid?
Yeah.
It does have a pumpkin on the cover, doesn't it?
Trick or Treat, from the 80s. That's a great one.
Black Roses.
Yeah, Black Roses, another great one. It's. I don't know if there's a Halloween scene in it, but it kind of just screams Halloween to me because of the hair metal and shit like that. It's costumey and hokey.
The more I learn about your impressions of Halloween, the more interested I am.
Are you an Ernest fan?
I am an Ernest fan. I own all of them.
Good.
I found at Walmart a collection of Ernest movies for $5, and I happily spent that $5 for all Ernest films.
Yeah, man, that's a bargain.
So now I can watch him go to camp, go to prison, save Christmas, and get scared stupid.
As well as many, many interactions with Vern.
You know what I mean? Okay, Jay, you and Ted both work at an organic grocery store. Among your other various jobs, let me ask you a question. Is there such a thing as MIAC? And have you looked for it on the off chance that someone you know is turned a would-buy troll?
Yeah, actually, I looked for it. There's this stuff. It's like a chickpea milk, and they call it Milac or something. It's got a bunch of vowels together, some Y's in there, and at first glance it looks like Miak. That was the closest thing I could find, but I definitely looked. I tried to make sure it was authentic Bulgarian Miak, but I could not find that. What about you, man? What do you watch in Halloween?
What do I watch on Halloween?
Yeah.
I usually watch Friday the 13th.
Yeah, those are always solid choices.
And then Subspecies 2, then 3.
You always skip one?
Yeah. Let's be honest, everyone skips one.
Right.
It's not the best one. Shot on location in Romania. It remains an interesting film when they do it. But it's just a hokey love story right up until number 2, where they're like, hey, you know what was a much better character than Michael? Radu. Let's just bring him back to life and have him torment everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Friday the 13th movie?
Probably the final chapter.
Yeah. That's fair.
There's a lot of good kills in it. Feldman, Corey destroys Jason. I thought it was a pretty good film. Number 2 is also really good. I always have a soft spot in my heart for number 2, where it just burlap sack Jason. I thought that was great. What about you? Friday the 13th. Which one? Go.
Oh, Jason X in space.
Wow. I'm almost positive that's a lie.
Yeah, you got me. I'd probably go Jason Goes to Hell. Just because of its kind of weird sentimental attachment. Not that it's the best one, but when I was a kid, I lived in a household that was strict with movies, and I was not allowed to watch most things that were PG and over growing up. So Friday the 13th, that was when you can't do something, you just want to do it more, and especially with horror movies, that's probably why I got into them so much more, is because I just was not allowed to watch them. They were like a huge no-no. Anyhow, I went to a friend's house, and their older sibling had Jason Goes to Hell on in the background, and so I was kind of trying to watch it while I was playing with my buddy and trying to catch bits and scary spots whenever I could, and that was my first real experience with the Friday the 13th movies. And it always seemed super duper weird and scary and out there because I'd never seen anything like it, even just in transition and passing and trying to watch clips as a child. That stuff's weird, right? Especially if you'd never seen a horror movie before.
Yeah.
And even past that point, I didn't get to watch a horror movie. So in my mind, it just remained as this thing, this weird, crazy thing that I'd seen that was a mystery to me until I managed to find a copy of it later. And even then, it was an R-rated copy, so it wasn't the real copy. And they didn't release an unrated version for years and years and years until somewhat recently. Anyhow, I ramble.
So, what was your first horror film, Ted? Because we just heard Jay's.
The earliest I remember was pretty cheese. It was Tremors.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love Tremors. Kevin
Oh.
Bacon. Motherfucking Fred Ward. Getting chased through the desert by giant underground slugs.
Good cast. Good cast. But I mean, for adult level entertainment, especially in the horror department, it was fairly tame. You know.
So you feel that horror needs to be adult oriented?
No. Just, you know, for jump scare, it was not the highest, I'd have to say. I don't know. Can't exactly explain it. But, yeah, that was probably the first one.
You think of any before that? Where you sat scared and you were all like, oh, scary.
See, and that's what I'm trying to think of. Yeah, the ones that stick to you. Well, Clockwork Orange Camp?
No.
Damn. It's creepy as shit.
I'll admit it's an odd film, but it's not horror.
You're gonna say The Shining.
Well, yeah. Shining was good.
So wait, you watched A Clockwork Orange before you watched horror films?
Could be. It was a long time ago. I probably didn't watch it in its entirety, but I saw a good, minimum 30 minutes of the movie at a young age, from what I remember.
I'm not sure if that raises or answers questions about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that why they call you T-Bone Jones?
That I can't answer for you, because I'm not the one that gave myself the name.
We all know you did.
Oh.
T-Bone Jones.
T-Bone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for the new Halloween when it comes.
So am I. I don't get excited much about films anymore. Well, that are being released. I got excited about the new Blade Runner. I'm gonna go see that. But I wasn't excited enough to just run out and go see it in theaters. Very few films get me like super pumped that hit theaters nowadays. Guardians 2 was the only one I gave too much of a care about.
Yes.
But that's because I was expecting a raucous, explosive, weird, very colorful movie. And I got it. James Gunn knew exactly who he was making that film for, and he did a very good job of it.
Yes, that he did.
King Kong. But I didn't go into that movie excited. I went into that movie very, very, very worried that they were going to F it up like they did Godzilla.
And what did you think in the end?
I liked it.
Good.
It's a giant monkey wrecking shit.
You say that now, but it's you. I mean, I gotta check.
You
poo-pooed a lot of movies.
I poo-poo a lot of movies.
You poo-poo a lot in general.
I poo-poo quite a bit.
Yes. Low-rate joke. Got it in there. Thank you.
I'm proud of you, Ted.
Thank you.
This is the one moment I'm proud of you.
Oh.
The only other film I got excited for was the new Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah. What did you see? What did you guys think? I liked it, but I think I liked the previous movie more.
I liked the trailer for it more. Because the trailer was giving me the idea that it was going to be like a huge army against monkeys on horseback, teaming up with other outcasts from the last dregs of humanity, combining and fighting for the future. Because that's what the trailer told me. And then I got a weird slave tale about slave monkeys.
I thought it was going to be Death Wish with monkeys. Because the trailer is like, oh man, yeah, they kill his wife and kid, and now Caesar takes revenge, and he's like hunting them through the forest and shit. And, like, that's the trailer, and that's Death Wish with monkeys. But that's not what that movie was.
No, I don't know why the hell they cut that trailer. It's so weird. Because I think they would have even gotten a better response if they'd have given us the proper trailer. Because the second film, which was way better than the James Franco film,
Yeah.
the second film, they gave us the exact trailer. This is what's going to be in the movie. You know, Gary Oldman versus monkeys. And I got it. That movie was great.
Yes, it was.
After I watched it years later because I poo-pooed it, because I'm a huge fan of Planet of the Apes. And I just went out of my way not to watch it because of the Tim Burton movie. And then you guys were like, no, it's actually good. And I spent another 3 days arguing not to see it. And then we watched it because of Riff Tracks. Shout out to Riff Tracks, not a sponsor. Because I had managed to get Riff Tracks, it was on sale, so I got it. And then we watched that Planet of the Apes, and I was like, that's good. And then you guys said, the second one is 1,000,000 times better and is nothing like this. So I was like, oh, okay. And that movie was great.
Yeah.
However, there's no Roddy McDowell, so is it really a Planet of the Apes film?
Well, in a sense, I suppose. But without Roddy, there will never be another Planet of the Apes film.
I love Roddy McDowell. But, I don't know, any other films to watch on Halloween? There's so many. But it's all about what gives you that feeling of Halloween. For you, it's apparently Jim Varney hamming it up.
Hell yeah. Lots of Snickers bars.
Ted, what was your choice again?
It was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right.
Yes.
Usually
That was Nightmare material.
So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with a Hammer horror movie marathon.
Yeah.
Yep, soft lighting, peasant dresses, heaving bosoms. And the reddest paint that ever was blood. Like, upsettingly heaving bosoms. Where apparently in 18th century Transylvania, they invented the motherfucking Wonder Bra.
Ooh. Upsettingly heaving.
Dude, half of these breasts are basically choking these women.
Yeah.
They are pushed so high up. So I think I'm going to do a Christopher Lee movie marathon with the Dracula films, and maybe The Mummy and Frankenstein.
Cool.
And of course, Fright Night, which is...
That's your Halloween flick?
That is... I know I hummed and hawed about a lot of stuff, but it's Fright Night. It's always going to be Fright Night.
I wouldn't have thought you'd be that big into Colin, what's his face?
Oh, dude, we both know. We both know Colin Farrell does not deserve to be put in the same echelons of movie greatness as Roddy McDowell.
Oh, the Roddy McDowell one. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
you meant.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Okay. Halloween 1, undisputed classic.
Yeah.
Started basically all of slasher films, aside from Black Christmas. Because Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre were before it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not a slasher film. It's just a fucking psycho killer.
Yeah.
Black Christmas set the stage, I think, for someone to improve. That someone was John Carpenter, and he did a masterful job. Number 2 is still good. It's unfortunate that it's about to be wiped out. Number 3, you can see what they wanted to do. They were like, well, we blew up and burned Michael in the second one, so how about we do an anthology series? Because at the time, again, the third installment of a movie franchise wasn't a thing back then. And they paved the way, and that apparently that pavement was made out of shit. And that's unfortunate. Silver Shamrock. Then you have number 4. It was good. It was decent. It set up enough of a story that people were like, I want to go see that. Let's make another one. They unfortunately made the next one so fast that they competed with themselves. For television releasing, for movie releasing, like 4 and 5 were basically on the shelves at the exact same time. They really screwed themselves, and they really screwed up that film. 6 was a production nightmare. That's what happens when you get a large company just sticking their fingers into the mix and saying, we want this, we want this, we want this. And the crew and the director and the people making it on the ground are being pulled every which way, and you can see the end result of it. And it's usually a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
H2O, very much a product of the early 2000s. It was not a great film. It made a ton of money, but it was the same cookie cutter, late 90s, early 2000s slasher, shitty kind of film that just kind of followed right after Scream, and it's like, great, who cares? Resurrection, wow, what a fuck up. I hate that movie.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie, at least the first Rob Zombie Halloween film was decent. Like, I remember when me and the guys went to go see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake.
Right.
We were in the theater, and it had a very nice aesthetic. The cinematography for that film is very, very good. It almost has sepia tones just built into it. It makes it look like rural Texas, or at least the representation of rural Texas that they were going for, circa 1970, 60, whatever. I can't remember. Anyway, so there's that scene at the beginning of the film where they meet the girl. And she's sitting in the back, and she realizes that she's going back to that place, and blows her fucking brains out. And you just see the back window explode. There's blood, there's brains, people are screaming in the audience. All you heard, after all the screaming quieted down, was a row of me and my friends laughing our asses off. Because we thought that was the funniest damn thing in the world. We could not stop laughing for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It made a lot of people in front of us uncomfortable. Because that was a grotesque and violent scene.
Yeah, I remember it.
We did basically the exact same thing when that kid was getting the shit beat out of him in Rob Zombie's Halloween. When Michael was just laying into that kid with the branch, we were laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same response. Everyone in front of us, you could tell they were trying to inch away from us. It was bad. That film, there were problems with it. A lot of them. 45 minutes is way too much on a backstory. The drunken, redneck, angry environment. You could have done that in 5 minutes and then given us a great film.
Yeah.
When the film got going at the 50-minute mark, it was excellent. All they had to do was that. And then number 2 just fell apart.
Yeah.
Or at least didn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah,
So,
it wasn't my favorite.
no. So, do I have hopes for the new one? Yes, I do. I have hopes for every single film made. I have a hope. Because I love movies. I have the hope deep down in my heart that it's going to be a good film with good actors and it's going to make money. But that doesn't really happen anymore.
No.
For some reason, it just does not happen. And you get shit movies starring shit actors with shit special effects. And it's really, really irritating. So what do? I go backwards. I buy classic films. Well, classic films, using the loosest term of classic. The first film I purchased on Blu-ray, Star Crash. The next one, Twins of Evil.
Yeah, so classic is a little bit more subjective.
Is a broad term there. Vintage. Old. Because at least at the end of the day with those films, there was heart and an attempt. There was a serious attempt. They really tried to make you believe that David Hasselhoff, while rocking a giant afro, who had laser eyes and a lightsaber, was a badass character. They tried.
Yeah.
And for 10 seconds you believed it, right up until it was like, wow, look at that afro on David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And there were other scenes in the film that looked good. Special effects, Flash Gordon-esque. A little Dino De Laurentiis.
It's passable standard.
It's a solid standard. If you can surpass Flash Gordon, I'm happy. I don't ask much. I just ask that you're at the level of Flash Gordon.
It's not a tall order these days, or at least it shouldn't be.
Really shouldn't be. And yet we get movies like It Follows, The Bye-Bye Man, Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
We get that.
I haven't seen Happy Death Day. I don't know. It looks like Groundhog Day, but like a horror movie.
That's exactly what it is.
Who knows? It could be alright, but Bye Bye Man and It Follows, yeah, they were pretty awful. And if people want to argue It Follows, good luck.
Why?
Okay. Internet, Jay is putting down the challenge. Contact him at any source you can find him at, and he will argue with you about It Follows and how much it sucks.
It was
Yes.
funny.
Correct.
Because it sucks so bad.
Follow me at LankyJ on Twitter, and I will have it out with you if you really, really do love that movie. I don't hate it so much that I will spend a lot of time defending it, but if you chirp me, I probably will have nothing better to do.
Do you know why I don't think people are going to pick you up on that challenge, Jay?
Why is that, Sean?
Because they'll have to admit that they like It Follows, and then there'll be a Twitter, and there'll be digital tracks of them trying to defend It Follows, and then they'll be marked forever as a fan of a shitty movie.
Miss out on job opportunities.
Yeah, they go for a job interview, and that person Google searches them and is like, "Oof, this person once tried to defend the movie It Follows."
Yeah.
Brutal.
Oof. Could
I'm
be that
sorry,
you're
I
up
really
for
don't think you're...
as a suspect for murder or some other charge, and then they look you up and try and find defamatory information on you to show the jury. They're like, "Suspect likes the movie It Follows."
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. And then they give any of the jury members a brief synopsis of the plot. Oh, man. That
Ladies
person
and gentlemen,
is
the jury,
Oh.
the movie is simply an allegory for STDs and sexually transmitted diseases. This man wants to see you die of AIDS, and then he's locked up.
Yep.
It was a terrible movie.
Thank you, Teddy.
Terrible. Terrible,
sorry.
terrible.
It was terrible to the point where it's hilarious, though. I still enjoyed watching it because it was so bad. All the
Joy
points
is
when...
Joy is a strong word there, Ted.
Well, okay. I mean... Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it's bad.
Thank you, Teddy.
You're welcome. I actually, yeah, it's one of those movies where you can't believe it was even made. Like, this must have cost money to produce, and it's just a waste of, well, film. Even though we're not on film anymore. But you know what I mean. You get the gist. It was a waste of time and resources. And not scary at all.
Yet turned a profit. So somewhere in some marketing meeting, they're discussing It Follows 2, rather than making a new Friday the 13th film.
Like a speed walker could, like, safely get away from that chick. I just... I don't know. I don't know where they were going with that.
Well, they were explaining that promiscuous sex kills you, Teddy.
It could be done in better ways, I guess.
Yeah, it really could.
Yeah. Giant vagina monster or something.
That's an odd choice.
Well, it's obvious, though, right?
Okay, well, let's delve into this a little bit. Ted, why are vaginas giant and monstrous to you?
What?
Yeah,
I'm not a man of large stature. What can I say? It's a fear. No, it's just thrown out there because it was. Yeah. I'm good. We're not doing that.
We're not doing what?
Change the subject, Sean.
Different subject.
All
Ted,
right.
why do you love penis so much?
Oh! I think even just to answer that in any way would be like, haha, so you admit it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Damn it. Like how we got from Halloween to how much dick do you suck, Ted?
Wow, Ted, I didn't ask that. Is that an
Damn
actual
it.
question I should ask?
No!
How much? Like the multiples of dicks?
Like bags of it. Damn it, I'm just walking right.
You're not helping yourself.
I'm...
Okay.
It's too easy to make fun of me. I gotta jump in on it once in a while.
Okay. Segueing away from Ted's love of cock. Even though we could spend an entire episode talking.
Oh, no, we don't have to do that.
I said we could. We don't have to, Ted.
Okay.
We don't have to. We probably will in the future, though.
Shit.
Okay. So, should everybody see the Halloween films? If you're a horror film, if you're a horror fan, I don't see why you haven't seen them. You don't have to see all of them, because some of them aren't very good.
No, the first two.
The first two. Other than that, it depends on how much you like the character of Michael Myers and how much you're willing to put up with. If you just want to see him hack and slash, you can pick up 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then the Rob Zombie films. You can get them. If you just want to see 2 really good horror films, just watch 1 and 2. They're great. They're available in many different ways, Blu-ray, digital downloads, all that kind of shit. So, if we can take away anything from this, fans are always going to be excited to see Michael Myers. And I don't think it's just because he was the first and therefore the driving force of slasher horror.
No, but that does take merit.
Oh, it certainly gives merit. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's because number 1 was so good that everyone has been looking forward to when it'll be that good again. When you set a bar so magnificently high, like with Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 1 was great. It's super scary. Evil Dead 2 set a bar so high that the rest of the series couldn't catch it. Army of Darkness is a great film. Even Ash vs. the Evil Dead is still chasing the shadow of Evil Dead 2. Will I watch and purchase every episode of that? Of course I will, because it's amazing and Bruce Campbell's hilarious. Hellraiser. Nothing to beat the first one.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Nothing's going to beat number 1, because it's so scary. Reanimator. Nothing's going to beat number 1. Phantasm. Nothing is going to beat number 1, even though number 2 is great.
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Can't beat Tobe Hooper, even though people have been trying. Halloween trumps them all. Halloween easily just vaults them without even trying, as Michael speed walks past these motherfuckers. That guy power walks well past every other slasher psycho killer that has ever come along in popularity and belovedness, aside from Jason Voorhees, because Jason Voorhees is just so cuddly. As marketability goes.
Yeah.
But people love Halloween because the first one is so fucking good. So, we have a re-release coming up on the 28th. Hopefully we'll all be going to it, if we can get tickets, and if it's available near us.
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers. And then, a year from now, many, many podcasts, hopefully under our belt, with many new listeners and fans, and hopefully a year from now, oh, gentle listener, you'll be enjoying these podcasts and with us when we go see the new Halloween 2. Is it even, what the fuck are they even going to call it?
Yeah, what are they going to call it?
I don't know.
I don't know. So, to ask a question of our audience, of all 30 of you, if that.
Wow, 3.
Hey, we had 50 views on the last one.
Damn.
Aren't we growing?
You guys are good.
I know, right? So, will you be joining Jay for Ernest Scared Stupid? Will you be joining Ted for Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Or will you be joining me in the land of heaving bosoms?
When you put it that way, it's sort of like, for a pale
for Christopher Lee fake blood movie marathons. Tell us in the description below. Tell us all about your love of horror films. Tell us what you have planned for Halloween. Have you been spending the whole month binge watching? Have you been spending every week cramming in as much horror as you can? Have you been dressing up your cat? Let us know in the comments below. Follow us on Twitter at whatever the hell we are at, and we'll talk to you next time. Hopefully.